Hey everybody, Roxabox90 back with some more Battle for Zendikar spoilers. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. I believe the final two mythics of the set, as well as a whole bunch of the foil far lands. I'll give you my take on these cards, starting off with Sire of Stagnation. I'm pretty sure this is the final mythic of the set. There's one more down below we'll get to. 4 blue and a black for a 5/7 devoid Eldrazi. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that's the key, opponents, that player exiles the top 2 cards, and you draw 2 cards. Does the exile effect really matter that much? Probably not in terms of a mill style mechanic, but it works with the Eldrazi's mechanics in terms of the ingesting. It really messes with your opponent's mind, I guess, that they don't have this, they can't just play their lands at ease. They really have to make quick decisions. And for most decks, if you can ramp this guy out, let's say turn 4 or 5, he's going to be a big problem for most players. Yes, the most aggressive aggro decks out there may be able to get around that and kind of ignore it, but he is a 5/7, which means that if he can help you stabilize against things like Siege Rhino that are more of a high-end curve for aggro decks, or for mono red. He blocks on the ground for days, 5/7, huge butt. And I mean, in Commander, he's an all-star win, since it's going to be almost impossible for your opponents to not play lands. And even if it's just 2 cards per draw per guy, it's going to be almost a Consecrated Sphinx. So I think he's not actually Consecrated Sphinx by any means, but it feels like a slightly less overpowered one, even at Mythic. I like the design all around. Thumbs up. Scalding Tarn actually looks pretty decent. I have to say the art looks pretty cool. Wooded Foothills, not such a fan. Again, what is this weird color choice? Flooded Strand did it where it was very pink, really pink, and this card is kind of a little too reddish, I guess. I don't know. It's a little strange. It doesn't really make me feel like Foothills. It makes me feel like Wooded, but not like Foothills. Windswept Teeth, here's where we go. We got these heaths, these flying plateau heaths. Like the art a lot. Marsh Flats is, I have to say, I mean, the original art was also kind of boring. This one follows suit, unfortunately. Bloodstained Mire is really an interesting alternate take on it. I like it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Blood Crypt in a way, but it's still, I like where it meets the mire, I guess, is what's going on. It's like a reflective image. I think, pretty sure that's the design here. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, noted, but I think it looks pretty neat. Polluted Delta is absolutely stunning. Really, this is the gorgeous art this card deserved. And from the beginning in Onslaught, it felt like it fit in terms of the art fit the card, but it could have been more, and I really love this artwork here. Stomping Ground, Overgrown Tomb, Blood Crypt are all pretty okay, I guess. Overgrown Tomb is probably the best of the 3. Verdant Catacombs definitely feels like a Verdant Catacombs, a little bit more color than the original. Watery Grave, you can't really beat the Return to Ravnica art, so don't really expect to, but it's not a bad art. It's going to be hard to see how this will look good in foil, though. And Breeding Pool, I prefer the other 2 arts, to be quite frank, but I'll have to see it in person before I can make up my mind. Mackindy Slide Runner, a 2/1 for 2 trample, solid for limited aggressive decks that gets you 1/1 via landfall. So yeah, with fetch lands, this guy could be even better, just because of combat tricks for days, but otherwise he's a fine aggressive card. Even if you just landfall once a turn, 2 for a 3/2 trample with consistency, solid for aggro decks limited. Pilgrim's Eye is kind of boring, to be quite honest, and I don't think all that good. 3 for 1/1 flyer, yeah, it gives you a basic land into your hand. Good with those new lands for the basic land searching and such, but really, 3 mana guys. Snapping Gnarlid, a bear with upside. It's always a good card for limited if you need to kind of fill out your deck and curve. And last up for today's part, the Waterveil, 6 for sorcery. You get an extra turn after this one, exile it, and has Awaken 6. So for 9 mana, you'd get an extra turn plus a 6/6 with potentially haste. Now realize that there's going to be a lot of ramp in this format. People are like, oh, 9 mana, it's so much mana. For a control deck, even a control deck, the amount of ramp that they're pushing through the set is a lot. And of course, in things like Commander, this card, it's not quite as powered, but it's, I think, a little bit more of a fun take on the extra turn. Instead of simply being an extra turn, you could potentially make dudes, which is also, I think, kind of fun. And of course, this card can get out of hand with Jace the new Jace being able to just... Oh, actually you can't, because it doesn't go to the graveyard. Exile's part. Ah, okay. I take that back. But it's still, I think, a very well-designed card. It was spoiled by Evan Irwin of Mr. Orange Guy on YouTube fame, and I'd recommend you check out his video because he goes through a whole history of Time Walks behind this card. The card itself is solid, fine, good card, but really the video, I think, is really what makes this card a pretty cool spoil. So that's what we got today. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on the lands. Obviously, each person's art can be subjective and people can like what they like, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Put that down below in the comment section, and if you enjoyed the video, then stay tuned, tap the like button, and as always, Roxbox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.